Oh, Tucker Carlson. I remember podcast.
There you,
Nicotine. So
oh yeah.
so he went on. I don't. Did you watch any of that episode?
I haven't
him on,
yet. No.
Okay, so he went on Full Send, which is crazy that they got him, and so he's talking about everything, and he gets on, and then somebody whips out a Zyn, and he was like, or maybe he did. I don't know who it was. Either somebody or he just did himself, and he was like, "Oh, can I get some of that?" Or they're like, "Oh, wait, you Zyn?" So he goes on this whole thing. Dude is like a hardcore nicotine addict.
Oh wait, I did see this clip, and that's why it came to my mind. Now, actually, I remember.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. I didn't see the whole thing, but
he said he smoked for like 25 years or something. He basically smoked until he was in his like mid 40s. Smoked cigarettes, and then he was like, "Yeah, I'm like, this is just not a good look." So he stopped smoking, and then I think he was dipping for a bit, and that's what he was doing. And then his daughter's boyfriend came home for like a holiday, and he had Zyn, and he introduced him to Zyn. So he was literally saying he has a Zyn in pretty much 100% of the time that he's awake. And he's like, I'll have one in all the way until I go to sleep, and then I sleep and I wake up and it's back in. I'm like, that feels a little bad, but dude, he was saying though, he's like, nicotine has all these benefits and all this stuff, and it's I'm pretty sure he was saying that like it's a nootropic, is that what it?
yeah, nootropic, whatever.
Nootropic, yeah. He was like talking about, he's running through the benefits of it. He's like, brings me mental clarity, and it makes me like all this stuff. It's like,
Yeah.
is it sponsored by Big Tobacco? Maybe.
Well, I mean, I know for whatever reason, Sean Hannity of all people was pushing the Juul for years.
Yeah,
I don't know if you knew that. And then
I did not know that.
Yeah, like on his crazy on his like radio show and on his television show, he would do ad reads for Juul. Like, I don't know. I mean, that was, and he only stopped doing it recently, but obviously it's banned now. But then Tucker Carlson, yeah, I saw that clip with him in the Zyn, and I've seen dudes like that. Obviously, not people like him in that line of work, but I've seen like a lot of guys that just I've been around who will like keep Zyn in absurdly long, for long periods of time, like a lifestyle.
It really is, honestly.
Yeah. I do know, like, at Red Dead Redemption, though, they use tobacco or nicotine as a stimulant that kind of gives him more focus and energy in the game. So, they make a good point there. Maybe it's just a healthy substance we should continually be using in our everyday work, our lives, keep us sharp,
I think we should introduce nicotine to children. I think that would make the most sense. Is start kids on it young, get them into nicotine. Maybe cigarettes can make a comeback, and we could just get maybe advertise more like the menthol and like the fun flavors of cigarettes. Maybe get kids on that earlier.
Yeah, the fun ones.
That could maybe.
Yeah. That reminds me of this girl that came on the Cut, I think, and she said she was looking for a guy who, or maybe it wasn't Cut. It might have been Cut, but it wasn't like the button. It was something else. But they were asking about like her type, I guess. Yeah. And she said it was guys who look like they just got in a fight, or they eat cigarettes every day.
They eat them?
They eat cigarettes, yeah. Eat them. And the funny thing is, I could picture exactly who she's thinking of, like the type of guy that is. It's a dude who lives in New York City, dude who has like just, like all the time just looks kind of beaten up, but like he's in a way he's kind of sexy, I guess, and he eats cigarettes. So like that's a figure of speech to being like he obviously smokes cigarettes, so he's got that vibe, but it's not like a nasty vibe. It's like a the cigarette fashionable vibe.
He doesn't smoke them, he eats them, so it's a little more classy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so it's like it's actually permeating throughout his body and then coming out in different ways, which makes him a fashionable man. I don't know. That's what she was into.
Yeah, that's good. It's like those women from back in the day that used to smoke those like super long, I don't even know what you call those things. They'd wear the glove, the full arm glove,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they smoked
In the
those
20s.
super super long cigarettes. Yeah, and it was like a classy thing to do.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that probably was just as good for you as a cigarette today.
Oh yeah. Dude, have you seen like the old, like probably in the 70s or the 80s, like what cigarette commercials used to be? Like they would literally target it as, they would target like young people for it as like this super cool, like sick thing to do.
Yeah.
It's
wish
like
we had some
wild to
footage
me.
of it.
Yeah, I know. We can find some footage for it, but
If you got anything, I mean, I don't know. Let me know.
I don't off the top of my head, but I think Camel is I think they're like a really old company.
Yeah.
And I think you can find, I feel like I saw this at one point of like the old at Camel cigarette ads where it was essentially like peer pressuring kids into smoking because it was like the cool thing to do.
Oh yeah, okay, I found some. The caption on this one is, it's a guy smoking a Camel, and it says, "Where a man belongs."
Nice.
He's like out in the
That's
wilderness smoking a cigarette. That's right.
There we go.
Let's take.
Oh my gosh, dude.
I mean, where a man
That,
belongs.
you know what that would be? That would be a sick poster to have in like a man cave setup.
It actually would. Yeah.
That would be sweet. Like,
Yeah. That's facts.
That's a
let's see what
sick.
else.
That's a sick ad. Actually, I like
It
that a
actually,
lot.
it actually is pretty fire.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I might have to pick up a pack on the way home tonight.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I understand. What is that? Okay, it's a Camel. That's the smooth character. They did have the warning sign at the bottom. Warning: smoking by pregnant women may result in fetal injury. There's no warning. It's just about for pregnant women. This is fatal for pregnant women, but if you're a man, it's no health problems whatsoever. You're good. It's got the woman in the background like,
Oh, yo, somebody has clipped 38 Camel retro ads. Let me see if there's anything good content in this.
okay, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette. Dude, that's crazy. They were using doctors to advertise for this stuff.
Yeah. They said there's one of these that says like the preferred doctor cigarette or something.
That's wild.
Hang on, let me share this.
Okay.
I haven't watched it yet. I just we can do it live. Do it live.
Yeah, you drop it in the chat.
I'll call you out of bed in the middle of the night. We often, and generally there isn't much time to spare.
Coffee, Doctor?
Oh, fine. Have a Camel with your coffee. Thanks. You know, this night work's kind of rough, isn't it? That's right. But a Camel's always a pleasure.
Yes, folks, the pleasing mildness of a Camel is just as enjoyable to a doctor as it is to you or me. In a nationwide survey, doctors in all branches of medicine were asked, "What cigarette do you smoke, doctor?" The brand named most was Camel's. Tens of thousands of doctors, general practitioners, surgeons, specialists, doctors in every branch of medicine were included. And according to this nationwide survey, more doctors smoke Camels than any other cigarette. Try Camels yourself, the cigarette so many doctors enjoy.
That's wild.
Crazy.
Wow.
Like literally using doctors for the advertisements. That is nuts.
Guess that answers the would you jump off a cliff scenario if someone told you to.
As long as the doctor does.
Yeah.
I will too.
Yeah, so I had this weird idea this morning that well, I guess maybe this happened this morning. Yeah, I was thinking of the Dre Drexler video, and because I got to work, I'd gone through my morning routine, showered, all this good stuff, and I get to work, sit down, open up my laptop. First thing that comes up is Vimeo with my profile video on it, and so I was thinking maybe I'll just do like a video like Dre Drexler, but and like part of my morning routine is, and then I open up my laptop, pull up my own profile video, and I watch intently to give me inspiration for the rest of the day.
I watch myself in the professional video that I recorded about my own self. It motivates me to do my best work.
Yeah. I watched the 4K cinematic video that I created of myself to inspire me in the rest of the day. Give me inspiration.
What does he say? Initially, it was like, he says, I love the sound of my alarm. It's like,
yeah. I love the sound of my voice.
Oh,
Yeah, but anyway, I had that idea, so I think I'll start adding that into my morning
yeah,
routine.
you should do that.
I got the new iPhone 14 Pro. If anyone did not notice, you might feel a little more closer to me, maybe, and maybe you feel
A
a
little
little
more
more
intimate.
like yeah, a little more intimate, maybe like you know me a little bit. Well, that's because of the iPhone 14 Pro. The camera lens is on me right now, so I'm really excited about that. And that is why I also wanted to mention. Well, I think we both wanted to mention this experience that I think is unique to our generation. So, yeah, Lindsay sent that video, and I immediately saw that, and it was a video of, I guess it was me from like 7 years ago, 6 years ago, and
Yeah.
I was immediately just like thrown off a little bit because of it was a video I hadn't really seen ever, and I was like, I almost didn't know who that was, but at the same time, because it's been so long, I was just like, I looked younger, but then it's also just weirdly like footage these days. I mean, not these days, but footage now that we've taken over the years is actually, compared to the generations before, obviously incredibly different than it used to be. It's the quality is 4K pristine. You can really see it clearly nowadays because of the phones and the cameras that have developed. So
Yeah.
I guess that's what we were getting into, something about how that's kind of
It's unique.
yeah, unique.
It's unique.
And
I don't know. It's weird because we will get to the point where, I don't know, we'll get 10 years down the road and we'll have like very high res footage of us in college and now it's like there's footage from, like, if people have kids, like young kids, if you have a kid now, you'll have like 4K footage of them as like an infant, like all the way up. Because now it's like our generation, when we think of footage of ourselves as like a child, it's usually like it has like a retro feel to it because the cameras were horrible back then. So the photos we were taken of ourselves were like likely on film that are like on physical photos. Now it's like everything's backed up to iCloud and Google Photos, and you've got like these high res photos and videos of like your younger self, which is interesting. I don't know.
Oh, I always thought that my parents were just obsessed with filters in the 90s. They were just obsessed with vintage filters.
Yeah, they're shooting it with X Pro 2 on Instagram, the OG filter.
Mom, why'd you throw a Super 8 logo, Super 8 filter on this? I can't barely see anything.
Were you using the Fujitsu or whatever that
Fujifilm?
Fujifilm like app for all these things?
Yeah. yeah. Why'd you do that? Why couldn't you just film like normal 4K, Mom? I can barely see myself. Yeah. It's interesting because I think also when we look back try to reflect back when we were kids or really young, it's always going to be blurry in our mind. Even though we have pictures and imagery and stuff like that, it's still nothing's crazy clear. But I'm just thinking of the kids who kind of grew up now, were born now, and growing up, they're going to be able to see just crystal clear video and pictures of themselves as a 1 hour old infant. Whereas for us, we'll never really clearly be able to see that, and like in an intimate way, like cameras today on our phone, you feel like you're in that moment because that person's holding it and doing everything with it, and it's just so easy because it's so portable these days, rather than back in the day had to be more official and like these handheld cameras on their whatever. It's just
I wonder with this if this makes this is going to be a super hot take, but I wonder if this concept is making our memories worse or better. Because on the one hand, I can get notifications of like, remember this day from 7 years ago, and I'm like, holy crap, yeah, that's crazy. I remember this. I was doing all this. I was in college at this point, which makes me want to die. But it's like, oh yeah, shoot, I was in college. And versus like before, if you didn't have all this like footage and all these Snapchat memories and all these like Facebook reminders and all this stuff, it's like the only memories you have are the stuff that you actually have to remember.
Right.
And so like subconsciously when I'm experiencing things and I'm like shooting photos of stuff, am I more easily forgetful of those moments because I'm capturing it and I just know it's being stored separately where I can go reference it later. You know, where it's like you show up to something. I mean, I do this. I'll go on vacation and I'll show up and I'll be like, let me snap a few photos of this, make sure I remember it, and we're good. And
Yeah.
it's almost, I mean, it plays into like the second brain concept, which we could talk about, but that's super nerdy. But there's a concept
let's
called
do it.
second brain. Yeah, let's go into it. So I don't know who coined this. It was a guy probably like, I don't know, 7-10 years ago, something like this. He coined this concept of a second brain. And the whole point is you use a medium to basically store information while you're either researching something or working on something or doing something where it takes an extensive amount of time. You record it, essentially like a note-taking app, but something that you can easily search or filter or whatever so that you can access the data later. And the concept is called a second brain because you don't have to remember a bunch of stuff where, like, if I do 3 days of research on something, you know, I'm a software engineer, I could do 3 days of research on how to do something correctly. If I'm documenting that stuff as I go, I can easily go back and be like, oh yeah, this is all the stuff that I learned when I did this. Here's all this information that I like concisely wrote for myself that I can access later. And it's a second brain because you can do this with anything.
Yeah.
And so I almost wonder, it's the same thing with photos. Like you sent the thinking about life after track, that snap.
Yeah.
I just went to Google Photos because I knew I had it saved, and I searched that text and it popped up because it recognized the text on the screen. And so
no way.
I knew I could access it like super easily. But that's the same concept of this like second brain where it's like I can go search something that I know I've documented and I can easily find it.
Right. Dude,
so-
yeah, I totally get that. I remember actually in the 2010s, late 2010s, actually in college probably too. I was always thinking, I mean, you know, I was snapping, filming literally everything I did. I was like a child at Disney World. If Disney World was partying with the boys. Anyway. Anyway, so yeah, I would always think about, I was always thinking, man, I wish someone could design an app where you could just search your photos and video through text recognition that in the pictures and video. But obviously, you know, where we were then was not where we are now. There was the AI didn't exist, or maybe it existed, but not, you know, for the average person at that point. It wasn't accessible.
Right.
So, but that's so cool. Like now it does. Is as always, with all, you know, the countless videos and photos I have, it would always be so nice to have that, you know, second brain search, but also that ability to search and search effectively as well.
Yeah.
But second brain, yeah, and second brain comes in, photos and video also. I mean, I've also just been recording audio of certain like melodies I might play on the piano at any point that I just need to remember.
Yeah.
I might not even ever listen to it again, but at least I have it.
Yeah.
At least it's there.
Yeah, I think what's really critical of that now is like just the amount of data that you can capture. And so this whole concept, like you said, you were filming stuff all through college when nobody else was, to where it's like you've lost some of it, but you have most of it. Where now the technology is too advanced to the point where you have all that data stored. Now you can access it super easily because now you can do searches and all this stuff on it. So that's kind of what the second brain concept is like just capture everything you can in wherever you're storing it. The biggest place for it right now is Notion. I don't know if you've used Notion. It's basically like the best note-taking app platform that's existed, you know, since forever, pretty much. But it basically lets you store notes and like embed databases and do all this stuff where you can access all your information really easily. That's where most people do it, but now it's just a matter of like capture everything you can so that years down the road you have the data there. You just need the technology to get to the point where you can easily access all of it, which we're pretty much already at. But
Right. Yeah. It's crazy. I remember Elon said back in the day, not in the back in the day, just like a few years ago probably, but he was when they were talking about, a panel or something was kind of talking to him about Neuralink, and he said they're like that's so like arbitrary that you would think that humans would be okay with having this instilled in their brain and just living with it. And he's like, what do you mean? We already do. That's your phone. You feel
Yeah.
weird if you leave home without it, don't you? And he's like, it's already
Yeah.
a part of you. So, yeah, I mean, we're at that point in a way, but I don't know that I'll ever get the chip.
Yeah, I mean, you'd have to have some kind of guarantee that there's no adverse effects to it, like
Right.
there's obviously never going to be a guarantee with something that's embedded into your brain, but I don't know. That takes it to a whole nother level.
Well, my question is, when do we get to the level of when we can take these memories and apply them to or immerse ourselves in them, like in the movie
Black
with
Mirror?
Tom Cruise? Well, that too.
Oh yeah, Minority Report.
Minority Report. That's something he would go home and do. He would
Yeah.
just for entertainment, he would be able to immerse himself into his memories. When are
Yeah.
we going to get to that point?
Dude,
Neuralink
that-
might be our way in.
Black Mirror. I don't know how many Black Mirror episodes you've watched, but
I've seen them all.
I mean, that's like the core of it, right? They've got that little thing that sits on their temple, and
Yeah.
it basically gives them like immersive access at the brain level, from what
Right.
it seems. But it's true. It's like, when do we get to that point where like VR right now is the big trend? But that's like you physically have something on your face. It's clearly some like additional thing that you've got to put like that. We'll never get to the point where our vision can spoof some kind of goggle or thing that's on top of our face. Whereas that, it's like it hits it at the brain level to where it's probably interfering with like what your eyes see with some kind of signal, and then it immerses it that way, which is crazy. But I mean, that's like the whole concept, right? Like the in my opinion, the best episode, USS Callister, where it's the guy that develops the video game, and basically he gets so immersed into it where he goes to work to build this like platform, goes home, puts it in, and he's basically a captain in this fictional world with all these real people.
Real people, right?
Yeah, but he's
Kind of like a clone in a way, I guess,
yeah, it's like clones of them, and he
or virtual
basically
versions
is-
of them. But they're
Yeah,
I don't
it's
know if
it's
they're-
clones of their.
he took their DNA.
It's like he took their DNA, so it's clones of them. It's almost like the Prestige, where there are two versions of himself, but one has consciousness, just like the other, and the conscious version is experiencing life as we know it, just in another realm. I don't know how that all works, but
right. I mean,
yeah, I mean, yeah.
yeah. What they're getting at. Nah, this is a different tangent. I was gonna talk about the soul, but never mind.
Yeah, we can go real deep. Talk about
Yeah.
the soul.
I don't think that's what we were trying to do, but
Yeah, but yeah, it's
Um,
it's interesting. It's like when does technology get to the point where we can tap into it at like maybe not the brain level, but higher than what we physically have currently?
right. Yeah. Yeah, I was thinking maybe like this whole category, this topic here of creating memories in a high quality memories. What if we get to the point one day where our phones or the devices we use to record these memories and store them, essentially, what if we get to the point where cameras are more than just a lens? Now they're able to record smells and like feelings, temperatures to the point where we can actually emulate almost identically that
interesting.
memory within like a machine. So what I'm getting at is I want Christopher Nolan to do something with this, is what I'm saying.
That's right.
Where we could like enter into some kind of device that, I mean, I know we're kind of in a way, video games are kind of doing that now, with like these pieces you can put on that basically, vibrate for your whole body throughout the
Yeah.
game experience, more immersive. But, I'm just thinking, what if we could do it with memories where you could actually, well, we were just talking about Minority Report, but I guess I was just thinking
Yeah.
about it more.
Well, yeah, that's a good point, because all you have to do is basically capture. You've got to capture the the additional senses outside of just visual, audio and visual, right? It's like taste and smell and like, I don't know what all the other senses are, right? But if you could figure out some way to capture that, because this takes it back to the Neuralink brain example,
Yeah.
your brain has the ability to interpret all that stuff, right? Like the way that you feel things and the way that you experience the world is all at your brain. And so if you can capture those things and replay it at your brain's level, whatever that means, then you could straight up relive these memories.
Yeah.
As like experience it as you did in the first place.
Yeah, and now I'm already getting a plot idea for premise for a movie now in my mind, which maybe I'll just share because I have not. This just came to me. I don't care if someone can steal this. Yeah, so maybe like the movie could be something along the lines of, when you, maybe it could be like some kind of a psychological experience, like this kind of experience, immersing yourself within memories is actually a psychological process or practice to kind of heal people. So maybe there's like a facility that does these kinds of memory psychology therapy things, and that's where I'm going with it. I don't know. I've got anywhere, but that's where we'll start. Anyway,
there's so much Black Mirror parallels to this.
Yeah,
I don't know if you saw the one that really screwed me up. Most of the episodes screwed me up, but the one that really got me was the military one. I forget the name of the episode, but it was basically not quite therapy, but they were able to program military members with that thing, whatever device they had. They used it for like additional data. So like, since it's at your brain, it could pop up like heads up display stuff about where enemies were and all this stuff, additional like data. But what they did was, the plot of it was they were basically these like infected human zombie type things that they had to go and like fight against. Some disease broke out, and there were these.
I remember
things.
this now. Yeah.
And the very end of it, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it, the episode, but the very end of it, it turns out it was a specific race that they had basically, it was like a genocide. They were trying to extinguish a certain race. And so they had programmed the military members' brains with this chip to interpret that race as if they were some infected zombie type creature.
Yeah, they referred to them as like some kind of bug.
Yeah, which was rough.
Yeah.
But it like, it's the same point where, you know, if we go down this path where you can do these brain therapies,
right,
what prevents, where does the line get drawn of what you're allowing people to like reprogram your brain as?
Mm-hmm.
So
wow, yeah,
big ethical and moral black box there. But
black box, nice, yeah. I haven't watched Black Mirror in a minute.
yeah, well, they stopped creating episodes. They said reality was too much for them this was during COVID though, so they said reality is the same level or worse than the stuff that they could come up. I don't know. It was some cop out for them to not have a new season. So
okay. I miss Black Mirror. Yeah, I really do. Like, it just there hasn't been a new episode. Well, I mean, I know there's been one here and there, but
the last season came out 2020 at the latest.
Yeah,
if not earlier.
It wasn't that good. I mean, all the good ones are like early 2010s, but
yeah.
They haven't done anything in a while though. I was hoping they would do something, but they haven't really revamped it.
That's one of the first shows that has ever like impacted me on that level, where I finished the episode and I'm like, well, like I'll finish an episode and I'll like physically not watch another episode because I'm like, that kind of just ruined my day a little bit, you know, with the way
I can see that.
So, I don't know, just the way that some of the concepts.
I don't watch it during the day. I would watch it before I go to bed.
Well, yeah, same thing. But it's like, I'm just gonna pause here and just not But it's so well done. Like almost every episode is like incredibly well done and noteworthy.
Yeah.
Like there was the one where all the robot bees like were killing people. That was crazy. That's one of the better ones they've done. I don't know. I could talk forever on this. That's like one of my favorite shows.
Same.
Yeah. Well, dude, speaking of movies, we can roll into this. Mission Impossible 4? I don't even know what now. It's definitely not 4. It's like
6, I think.
I don't know what they're up to now. They've been so many.
Oh,
of
it's
these.
definitely not 4. 4 came out in 2011.
4 is way a long time ago, but
I think it's a 6 or 7.
Mission
6,
Impossible Dead Reckoning. We'll just use it by their tag.
Going part 1 and 2 here too, correct?
Yeah,
Is that right?
the movie poster was released, featuring Tom Cruise with a parachute and a dirt bike jumping off a cliff. Crazy. And not really spoiler alert, but in case people didn't see this or this poster gives it away, Tom Cruise was physically base jumping off of a cliff by riding a dirt bike off of a cliff in real life, which is
This is what. Yeah, I mentioned this in the
wild.
episode when we were talking about all these
Yeah.
the stunts in Indiana Jones. Yeah.
But anyways,
This is the movie. Yeah.
Yeah, the official poster came out. Looks awesome. Once again, like we mentioned on that episode, the movies I'm sure is going to be great. I'm going to go see it for sure. That's a series that they can only get better, it seems.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. The release date for this is July 14th, so similar
There you
time
go.
frame to Oppenheimer. So
Yeah,
we've
it's
got
about a week apart.
Some good films to look forward to come the summer.
Yeah. Mission Impossible. Yeah, I feel like they'll never go wrong. I still remember like Mission Impossible 2 when I first saw the scene with him at the very beginning, climbing like rock climbing out in the middle of who knows where, and pulls like these ridiculous stunts, like near death stunts. And obviously, I know he was in a green screen room, but I remember as a kid seeing that, and I was just like, yo, you can do that? And so immediately I was like, whatever he is, I'm going to start going that direction in life.
Yeah. That's what I think is so cool is that film is so true to itself, where it's every time it comes out, at this point that Tom's doing the stunts for real. He's hanging off the side of an airplane. He's climbing the side of the Burj Khalifa. He's shooting off the cliff on a dirt bike. So
Yeah.
just like really cool stuff, and they've never departed from that. Let's talk about this revenge bedtime procrastination piece.
Oh
for a
yeah, I do
second.
want to hear this.
I want to talk about this because I learned about this. So there's a concept called revenge bedtime procrastination. Most people probably haven't heard of this. I found this out from a TikTok, of course, but somebody was posted about it, and it was one of those where they like break down the meaning of it. But basically, it's during the day you either go to school or you go to work or you have some obligation, and you feel like you're a slave, quote unquote, to whatever that is. I got to get my work done or I got to get my schoolwork done for school or some project. I've got to get my work done for whatever job I have. And then I've got free time after that. Obviously, there's like the 9 to 5 thing, and people usually have free time in the evenings. Revenge bedtime procrastination is you don't want to go to sleep because you know you will have to wake up the next day and attend to your responsibilities. And
shoot.
You stay up late because it's not that you are lazy or whatever. I don't even know what else that would be, but the core behind it is that's the time that you have to yourself, and that's the bit of control that you can keep over your day-to-day life. And so you stay up late so that you have more hours to yourself, so that you're not waking up the next day and attending to the responsibilities that you know that you have.
Oh, I totally.
So I found
get
that out. Yeah,
Yeah.
I found that out, and I was like, well, it's a little too close to home, but at least there's a phrase
Yeah.
for it now, you know?
Yeah, my time at night when I'm turning in, that is like my sacred time.
Yeah.
That's like, I feel like I've earned it. And I'm like, all right, I'm finally at the point now where the world is at peace, or at least in my time zone. You know, things are shut down and I can just chill. And yeah, and then I just keep pushing it, and I ended up staying up late, and yeah, it's great. I get.
Yeah.
I'm also. I mean, I know it's for some people it's the same thing, but the nighttime is also when I'm most creative and able to to do stuff like that in that nature. So I'll write
100%.
music at night. I'll play music at night. I'll write at night. I'll just binge something, and that's creative, right? That's artistic of me to watch Outer Banks, right?
I think that concept applies to. I think this leans into obviously more heavily the night owls, which you and I both are for sure. I think the people that are morning people, they tend to do the same, maybe not the same thing, but people wake up really early in the mornings for the same concept, because the mornings, no one else is awake. They have that time to themselves where they can do all the stuff that they want to do, but that's when they're most productive. Both of us, the night is when we're the most, I don't know if productive is the right word, but the most creative, the most
It can be.
ourselves.
It can turn into productivity if it depends.
I always say, like, I wish that the hours of like 2 p.m. to like 6 p.m. could just be deleted from normal life, and I could pick that up in the evenings, because I feel like I go through a lull in the afternoons between those hours where I'm not really productive. I can be, but it's not my most like beneficial time. And then like 7 p.m., 8 p.m. to midnight, I get like the resurgence of energy where I feel like I can do a lot of stuff. And so, some jobs lend themselves to that, some don't. But I don't know. It's a very interesting concept. I would prefer if humans didn't have to sleep at all. I would be up in the middle of the night for the entire night, because I think it's the most calming and the most productive for me. It's like the early morning hours of like 12 to 3 a.m. There's like a stillness that doesn't exist any other time.
Yeah, I think that's why. I think we might believe in astrology. It's because of the way the planets and stars align.
That's right.
And it affects our mercury levels or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of waking up early, okay. So this video is along the lines of like your sleep to wake routine.
My day is 6 a.m. to noon, and I'm not crazy. You're crazy for thinking it takes 24 hours, just like some dude in a cave did 300 years ago. My second day starts at noon and goes till 6 p.m. That's day 2. And then the next day is 6 p.m. to midnight. What I've done now is I have changed and manipulated time. I now get 21 days a week. Stack that up over a month, I'm going to kick your butt. Stack it up over a year, you're toast. Stack it up over 5 years, my entire life is different than it would have been otherwise.
Well, my day also starts at 6 a.m. But by 7 a.m., I already had 1 day. By 8 a.m., that's 2 days. By noon, I had 6 days. By 1, I've had a whole week. So by the time you take your lunch after your first day, I already had a week. Stack that up over time, and just like a caveman, that's compounding. By the end of the week, you're toast. By the end of the month, you're a muffin. In a month, I'm so far ahead because I've been stacking imaginary days. You're never going to catch up.
By the end of the week, you're muffin. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
That is solid.
I don't know who that dude is who's giving the speech or whatever, but I've seen him elsewhere. I've seen him other places, and like what? So he has 3 days in 24 hours each, which is, 4 days in 24 hours, each is 6 hours long. So 6, 12, 18, 24. Yeah. Because I know people like this. Like, you've heard the whole thing about Mark Wahlberg, how his day starts like 3 a.m.
Yeah.
It's like, at what point have you gone so far in that direction that you're just being unproductive and like,
yeah, exactly. Also, the people that like claim that they can I operate off of 4 hours of sleep and I just like can do, it's like, that's literally taking years off of your life. There's been studies that have shown that, where it's like, yes, can you do that right now? Absolutely. Is that gonna like affect you later on in life? Probably. Some people don't really care, and it's like, okay, that's fine, go for it. But
this dude talking about needing to stack his days, like that's a thing. Dude, why don't you just stack your days? What are you thinking? Oh, you're trying to start that business, but you don't feel like you have the time with your other job? Dude, just stack your days, dude. Like, you can
Yeah, and
literally
then you can
fit
get
3
21
days in one.
You can get 21 days a week.
Yeah, you didn't. Why did you not think about just stacking your days, dude? Like, it's so obvious. Why would you want to do 1 day when you could do 4 days? Who is this guy? I really want to know.
That's so good.
Actually, I want to watch his other content. What other kind of things is he
seriously.
peddling?
Yeah.
Like, what are people gonna do? Go home, start their day, be like, all right, honey, well, I went to that conference over the weekend. I'm gonna start stacking my days, doing 4 days and 24 hours every day. So then, like, oh, okay, honey, that's great. Gets up the next day at, like, 6 a.m., and then next thing he's in bed at 12. It's like, honey, I asked you to mow the lawn. What are you doing in bed at 12?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to bed. I gotta wake up for the next day.
I got another day coming up here. Give me a second. You wouldn't understand. You're not stacking your days.
Honey, it's Saturday. What are you talking about? It's Wednesday.
Yeah.
I'm in the future. I'm on Wednesday. I can't hear you over there in the past.
Yeah, exactly. You must be at a high gravity planet.
Yeah,
Oh.
I know that's kind of what I was thinking
Nolan.
too.
Nolan.
Yeah.
You're never getting away from it. We're always talking about it. You thought we'd go this whole episode without talking about Christopher Nolan? You got it wrong.
Yeah, it's right. That's right. So suck it. You know who you are. You know who you are.
Yeah, our manager.
But yeah,
notorious manager. This is exactly why the Town Crier podcast can and should always talk about Christopher Nolan films.
whoa. Wait, I feel like that's an exact thought I've had before.
Really? Like that exact sentence, maybe? Like word for word, the exact same thing?
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy. That's wild.
Wait, continue. Did you have more?
Yes, I do have more on that exact same thought. Let me just think about what I was thinking. Nolan films in general are meant to be pondered upon for years. Not just once, not just twice, potentially even a lifetime. And people still today are debating Inception because of this very intention that Nolan has behind his movies. So Tenet, another film, is essentially a puzzle that's meant to be solved by the audience. They're not going to give you the answer like in the movie. So, yeah.
Dang, dude. Reading my mind as usual. Dang.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why we're
anyway.
the duo on the Town Crier.
That's right. Yeah. Lewis can't do this. You're not gonna he can't read his co-host's mind.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, we're doing black
that's
magic
good.
shiz over here.
That's right.
So that's why
Black
we
magic.
wear all black.
That's right.
We
It's true.
sold our souls to the devil.
Yeah. And what's actually funny about that is all the times that we've matched on the show, never talked about it beforehand. So maybe
never
we are
talked
reading
about
each
it?
other's. Yeah,
Oh,
like
yeah.
we show up and
Yeah.
it's like, oh, are you wearing the same thing as me? Sick.
That's pretty crazy.
So yeah. So maybe
Yeah.
our astrology stars
Are in
are
line.
in line, and Mercury's in retrograde.
Retrograde. We need to have an astrologist come on and do an interview.
Yeah, we could bring Lauren on.
I know. Just
Shout out
thinking that.
Lauren. Shout out Lauren.
Yeah.
Hopefully you're listening.
Yeah. I'm actually going to a slumber party.
That's true.
April 8th, I believe. Not that the audience needs to know.
Yeah, if you want to show up, we'll drop
It's
the
actually
Addy.
it's a public event, so be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's his birthday party. Shout out Lauren, who is a listener. So I'm gonna show up to that, and I'm gonna wear my LL Bean robe. So I
Nice.
think
Great
I'm gonna.
move.
I was thinking it was like getting. So it says wear PJs, but I was like, will I actually do that? But I was like, oh, I definitely will because I got an LL Bean robe this year for Christmas, and it's freaking awesome. So I will definitely be wearing that.
100%.
So I'll probably take over the room with that on, and then probably just some sweats or whatever. And I got LL Bean moccasins too. I don't know if you've ever seen those, but those are pretty fire. So,
LL Bean Mox, is that what you said?
moccasins.
Yeah, I've got a pair.
Oh, you do? Yeah, I figured you did.
Yeah.
You've had those forever, haven't you?
I've had them since college.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I got mine like 2 years ago for Christmas. They're freaking
They're awesome. They're
Yeah, they're the best.
literally, I wear them all day.
Yeah, I mean, I wear them only inside, but you could if you wanted to drive
Well,
with them.
I work from home, so, you know.
There you go. Oh, have you ever heard of the movie Matchstick Man?
Mm-mm.
So it's Nicolas Cage, and it's about a phobic con artist and his protege who are on the verge of pulling off a lucrative swindle when the former's teenage daughter arrives unexpectedly. So are you familiar with this movie or?
That's not Pedro Pascal, is it?
Oh wait. It's Nicolas Cage actually, but I think Pedro.
Wait, is he in that as well? I've seen clips from it. If that's the same movie, if not, it's something different.
No, it's an old movie. It's from 2003.
Oh, then definitely
But
not.
it's yeah. So yeah, you would say. So would you say you haven't seen this movie, or you're not
I
familiar
would say
with
that
it?
I haven't seen this movie.
Yeah, me either.
Cool. Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I haven't either.
Yeah, nice, cool. Yeah, that's good. It's the first time we've done that ever.
I think it's all comes down to the hold at the end, the pause with just nothing, just
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, yeah, my brother Christian told me about that movie like the other day. He's like, "Have you seen Matchstick Man?" And I'm like, "Nah." He's like, "It's really good." He's just watched it, and I was like, "Oh, all right, maybe I'll check it out." But it does sound
Check it
kind of
out.
cool because it's about a con artist, a con man or something, and it got really high ratings for. So it's Ridley Scott directed it.
Oh, nice.
It's got Sam Rockwell in it. Nicolas Cage, though, the man, the myth, the legend, Nick Cage.
That's right.
Nick Cage in a cage. You don't remember that movie?
Nope, I don't.
Oh, it's
yes.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage in a
Yeah.
cage. Nick's Cage. Yeah.
Or Lord Farquaad on a
Lord
Farquaad
on a far quad. Yeah.
Those are the best.
Yeah.
I again left my house tonight to record, and J.M. Francis's GF, Gloria is her name. She was at our house when I was obviously on the way out again, and we had dinner. But so I was like, so I stopped and I was like, I first said, why are you here? But no.
First of all, why the heck are you in my house right now?
Yeah, I did say that, but I followed it with, why are you here? Because this is the exact thing that's happened the last 2 weeks. Every Thursday night I'm on my way out, I see her, and then we talk about her brother-in-law, Hunter.
Oh, Hunter.
And so I got a little more now about our boy Hunter, and he is actually so this whole time I knew he'd listen to our episodes on Saturdays. Would he be in the shop? Is what Gloria said, and the shop, as she says, is I guess near right next to his house or whatever, and so that's when he listens to us. But I learned that he is actually a satellite engineer.
No way.
Yeah, so this dude works on satellites, like developing them, and like I know hardly anything about this, but I can only imagine how sophisticated this is. Apparently, he had a full ride to go to Virginia Tech.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah, because this dude's like a freaking genius, apparently. So, well,
dude, we should have him on.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when I learned that, I was like, oh, he's a satellite engineer. I can only imagine, like, what's the correlation to that and a lot of the space topics we've had, discussions.
Yeah. Oh, seriously. Yeah.
Like, is he? I'm actually really, really curious. Like, is he actually dealing with? I guess a lot of these. Yeah, I guess I don't know.
Well, I mean, if anything, it'd be interesting conversation. And
yeah.
It's like, it may not be like completely space relevant, but I mean, it fits the vibe of what we're doing. So.
Yeah. So yeah, shout out Hunter, dude. Again, I mean, it's the
Heck
third
yeah.
week,
That's
third
awesome.
week in a row we've talked about you, and we keep on learning a little more here. So the more I learn, the more I like you. So,
We didn't like you at first, for sure.
yeah,
We thought you were-
yeah, yeah. Well, who's this loser? Listen to our podcast.
yeah. Who the heck's listening to our podcast?
Well, don't listen to our podcast.
Yeah, shout out Hunter. That's awesome. He's probably he and Ryan. Shout out Ryan.
Yeah.
Probably our two most loyal listeners right now.
Yeah, Bard too. Bard.
That's true.
Was trying
Bard
to
called me
send-
this week and he was like, "Dude, I listened to the pod." I was like, "Heck yeah."
Bard was sending me content yesterday, actually, and dude, I almost missed the entire main thing I wanted to say today. So I'm really glad we kept rolling. He sent me something about a movie, but you can check the Town Car DMs, by the way. Oh crap.
I responded to it and I put my name on there.
Oh, okay. Let me see it.
Yeah.
Did you know I responded to it?
I know. I responded after and just said ha 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 ha, and then put
Oh,
my name
I see
in.
it. Yeah. Quentin Tarantino has written his final film, which he wants to direct later this year. But so first of all, I'd say that's probably a Tom Brady move, but maybe.
Yeah, it's a hot take.
I hope so.
Could be a hot take.
But I don't really. But what I was trying to say was, let me just play this. Actually, you might have already seen it, but I did want to make sure this got shown on the podcast, so let me definitely show this. All right. So anyway, the dude who won Everything Everywhere All at Once, the director guy who wrote it, what's his name? I'm not gonna be able to say his name. Maybe you can look it up and say his name. I don't know.
Something Cooey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was I found it.
When I started my career as a child actor in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, I felt so very lucky to have been chosen. As I grew older, I started to wonder if that was it, if that was just luck. For so many years, I was afraid that I had nothing more to offer, that no matter what I did, I would never surpass what I achieved as a kid. Thankfully, more than 30 years later, two guys thought of me. They remembered that kid, and they gave me an opportunity to try again. Dan Kwan, Daniel Steiner, thank you so much. Thank you.
I don't care how long it takes, as long as I'm with you.
That's true. 38 years.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy.
That's
So
crazy. That is.
So yeah, I mean, it's also just crazy inspiring too. But he was the kid in Raiders of the Lost Ark, which I haven't seen in a long time, but I remember is just it's so good. But yeah, he was just the kid who I guess was buddies with Indiana Jones, with Harrison Ford's character there, and he never did anything after that, and because he I guess it was always his dream to do all of this and be a successful actor or director or writer, but he essentially, I guess what he's saying is he kind of gave up on it because of a limiting belief. And I'm gonna get all deep with this, but we hold ourselves back from like little small limiting beliefs that grow over time that really are rooted when we're like a child like that, where you find success in that way, and then you just think to yourself, yeah, I probably just got lucky. I was just a lucky kid, lucky child actor. I could never really make it though as an adult actor or director, and then therefore you kind of just don't really go after your goals and dreams that you've aspired to do your entire life, and you kind of give up on them because of a small, like a lie that you tell yourself, and then it just grows over time until somebody, I guess, maybe something occurred here recently where someone stepped in and actually spoke probably maybe life into him. It was like, no, you can do this. And the dude went out and wrote Everything Everywhere All at Once. So congratulations to, I cannot say his name and I'm not even going to try, but as I'll butcher it. But really cool story.
We can continue on the deep trend, continue to get deep, but that reminds me of actually a thing that a lot of athletes go through, which is
I went through it
graduate.
myself, actually.
Yeah, a lot. It's more specific to college athletes, right? You go through college, you do a sport in college, you graduate both college and athletics at the same time, and you figure out for the first time ever that the thing that you're best at in life is no longer applicable. Mm-hmm. And you end likely at least an 8-year run of you're pretty much the best at what you do, and you've got this like work ethic that applies to a very specific thing, and you graduate and you enter the real world, and most people like land in a job and they're like, okay, was that the only thing I was good at? Or was that like, for most people, that was their core identity. And you end up with this like identity crisis in a way where you're like, oh, maybe I was just good in my sport and that's why it got me so far in life. Maybe that was the only thing I was good at. What's my new thing? And you see most athletes go through some version of that. Some find success immediately in their job and their career, and that's great. But a lot of people, it's like, okay, now what? So
exactly. Yeah. No, I mean that from a personal standpoint. I mean, that's exactly what I went through. Was I found success to the highest level I could take it, almost, really, and running specifically is what I'm talking about, and specifically collegiate running and track and cross country. But after that, it was I felt like I'd worked for that for 8 years, I guess it would have been. I started running in high school, but you work so long at your craft, and you find success in it, and then when it's all said and done, then that's when I kind of experienced, okay, I found a high level of success here, and now I'm supposed to repeat that all over again. I'm supposed to start all over with something new here and put that same work effort into something else. That's where that transitional period is tough, because I'm just thinking, but I just put in 8 years of this thinking this was like everything. Because especially as a kid, you start when you're 15 or 16, and you're not really thinking about, way down the road in your career and all this stuff. In a way you might, but you're really just thinking, this is your sport. You're an athlete, and you're going to find success here. And this is everything. And so when it all comes to an end, it's like, oh wait, there's still life to be lived after this.
Yeah.
This is only the beginning. And so that realization was kind of everything for me. I was thinking, it took me a while to really get to figure out what's the next step here. Where am I going to take this? Everything I learned here with running and collegiate running or athletics. How am I going to take that and apply that to something else? It can sometimes, be a long period of time to figure out how to get on that next train, essentially. And some do, some don't. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is every transitionary period in your life there's always a next, right? So middle school, it's graduate middle school and enter high school, the next like 4 years. And then you enter high school and it's like start athletics and start academics for how I get into college. And then you get through high school and it's like, now I've got college to go to. And for us, at least, it was like, we go from high school athletics to college athletics, and it's the next jump. And then it's how do we excel in college athletics, and how do we prep for our, our future? And then you get out of that, and then there's no next. You land your job, and then you're like, now what? Now it's career progression and like more just life focus, where it's okay. Now I, have a family at some point, but for now it's I have a career. And it kind of comes to like a halt, so to speak, where there's no big next thing. And a lot of people, it's just a really tough transition.
I would argue in a way it's because, like you said, when you're a kid and you're growing up, it's, middle school, you finish middle school, you go to high school, you finish high school to get to college. Your path is laid out for you. Society tells you what the next step is. But after college, you're on your own. You kind of got to figure out what is that next path. And so I think that's especially for me. I was like, okay, what is the next step after college, though? I thought we just finished college and then we're in heaven. Well, I thought I was in heaven.
Yeah,
it was
that's
college.
right. That's what college was. Yeah.
What do you mean?
It's like nothing gets better than this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which, for both of us, life has been good, but is it
That's
college
right.
level good? I don't know.
Our married friends might say otherwise, but I don't know. I'm not there yet, so I'm still gonna. Yeah, college was freaking sick.
Yeah, dude. When I meet people, this is a crazy. We're very fortunate that was the case. I've met people where they're like, college sucked for me," and I'm like, "What? you know, and it's different for us because the experience that we had there. But I'm like,
dude, yeah,
that's crazy. Like, you've got to find your like experiences, and this is gonna sound crazy, but like your 20s, there's so much to be lived in your 20s, and we've done that. But and for some people, that's like that's where their college experience is, where they have these good experiences and these adventures and stuff. But it's like, dude, like, how was like I couldn't imagine college not being what it was.
Yeah,
So
yeah, that was the case for a lot of the kids I went to high school with, or at least my graduating class of 12 kids. Like, I know I by far had the best college experience. Well, I know a few of them would probably debate that. David Heidi specifically would argue that JMU he had a great time there, and I'm sure he did. But most of them was like they were like, yeah, college was like kind of whatever, or it wasn't that fun, or they had a really hard time transitioning to it.
Well, it's lucky because of athletics, because we had like our built-in, and we got super lucky with the people that we ended up in school with.
That's true.
Imagine you show up and you're like, oh, I actually don't get along with these people at all, really.
That was my biggest fear before I ended up there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, then what do you do? You know? It's like, I'm spending all my time with these random people, and like that didn't really ever click with me because I went to CNU, met 3, like the whole team was solid, but 3 freshmen at the time, and we're literally still friends today. We were in school together for 1 year, and we're literally still friends. But it's like I met 3 dudes that were super solid, and then I transferred to Liberty, and then obviously met everybody, and it's like that never even crossed my mind. But you know, imagine the flip side of that. You show up and you're like, I don't like these people at all, and now I'm gonna have to spend 3-4 years with these people that I don't get along with, or that I can become like friends with that I'm not actually friends with.
That was my biggest fear when I was in high school, when I was about to come to Liberty. I remember that summer before, and I was just having the greatest summer ever. It was like me and Trey just screwing around all summer with our friends. Yeah. And I'm like, man, I really hope Liberty's not a buzzkill. And
dude, yeah.
And I got there and still not sure, but yeah, I mean, and then you're right though. The fact that we went to school with the people who went to school with us was because I grew up in the church, and I know how a lot of these kids are, and I know that it can be. I oftentimes have felt like the black sheep among Christian cultures. But
dude,
but you know what I mean though, and I've always that's always been a kind of a fear of mine. But then I got to Liberty, and I remember as soon as I sat down in that meeting, the cross country meeting, and then Jeremy's behind you, and Jeremy I think we're sitting together, and he goes, oh yeah, we're just gonna look at it. And I was like, okay,
I'm just gonna look at it. Yeah.
This might be okay. I might be able to work this out. Yeah, so cool.
Yeah, so if you're one of those losers who never had a good college experience, it sucks.
Yeah, it's all your fault, and you need to change who you are.
You ever try not being a freaking loser?
You ever try not being yourself? All right, guys. Well, appreciate the support on Instagram, and we're also on TikTok, but I know the majority of people listening to us are finding us on Instagram. So, oh, and all our new listeners, welcome to the Town Crier Podcast. Appreciate the support, and I hope you can enjoy this episode and ones to come. This is we only revamped this recently if you're new to the show, but we've been on this track now for about 2 months, but and we're gonna keep this going. So thank you for the support, thank you for the follows. We're gonna be continuing to post Instagram Reels and TikToks throughout the week for you to enjoy. And if you have any suggestions for the show or anything you'd like to have be heard, or if you'd like to inquire about a guest, please feel free to DM us on Instagram and we'll get back to you. So all right, with that, I guess we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Thank you guys for tuning in. Episode 9. Next week's the Big 10. So
hey, we might have 10. a little celeb party, a celebration, you know?
Yeah, we might have a celeb party where we talk about only celebs on our newfound Hollywood drama podcast.
Yeah, there you go.
I know.
Sweet.
Well, cool.
All right.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you all next week
on the Town Crier Podcast, episode number 10. All right.
Cool. Take it easy. Peace.
Peace.